Thank you so much for attending my PowerPoint presentation on farming items, the best ways to AFK. In Dota 2, the term farming item refers to a set of items whose primary purpose is to generate money to buy other items. While all of them contribute towards a higher GPM, farming items often have major upsides that make certain heroes prefer them over others. Wise and auspicious anti-mage players want to capitalize on their inherent damage with cleave. Meanwhile, dummy necro players want things to just sort of die around them. There are even heroes like Juggernaut and Troll Warlord who can pick between multiple different farming items based on the enemy lineup. There's also stuff like Vlad's on Morph and Ag's on Gyro that are basically unique options. While the meta surrounding farming items changes with every patch, all of their basic ideas have stayed the same for pretty much ever, meaning that we can compare and contrast them to learn what makes each one special. Exactly which items count as farming items can vary from player to player and definitely from patch to patch. Currently, Helm of the Dominator is Flavor of the Month at TI. However, I've narrowed my personal list down to 5.5. Armed with this knowledge, you can now flame your carry players for being different from you. First up is Maelstrom. That's a cool new word I made up that refers to both Maelstrom and Mjolnir. Feel free to use it when you're in a rush. Maelstrom gives a chance to proc Chain Lightning with every attack that deals magical damage to 4 targets. Unlike its main rival Battle Fury, it grants attack speed, which can really make it better on heroes that already deal good damage. The buildup is also really nice, since you can either commit to the hammer to get a bunch of damage in the lane, or pick up the javelin early, meaning that you can cheese the shit out of the enemy mid as Wind Ranger. Gloves of Haste is also nice, since it gives you something to buy out on when you inevitably get ganked 200 gold shy of Mithril Hammer. Later on, or let's be honest here, immediately after getting Maelstrom, you can upgrade it to Mjolnir. This boosts the attack speed up to 90 and increases the damage and targets of Chain Lightning. In addition, it gets an active that works kind of like a Blade Mail that procs Chain Lightning whenever you get hit. The active is really only useful for either chucking on creep waves like a Boof Manta style or discouraging Phantom Lancer from getting up in your grill. The true appeal of Maelstrom is that it works just as well on ranged heroes as melee. This means that cores like Sniper and Huerta basically have to go Maelstrom in order to farm. Still, it's pretty good on some melee heroes, even though I consistently say it's worse than Battle Fury on every single one of them in all of my videos. Also, Hoodwink buys it for some goddamn reason. As for its upside in fights, the Chain Lightning procs have True Strike and, since they deal magic damage, are nice against heroes with high armor. Terrorblade and Phantom Assassin come to mind. Mjolnir is also a good pickup against illusion heroes, though it tends to fall off compared to the next item, which I will now exhibit unrepentant favoritism toward. Here it is, my beautiful, beloved baby boy Battle Fury. This item has a much chunkier buildup than Maelstrom, only works on melee heroes, and is more expensive. But I still love Battle Fury more than God loves you. The item grants cleave in an area, which means that melee attacks will deal a portion of their damage to anything else in a cone around the target. It also provides 50 freaking damage for some reason, and grants a ton of regen from the Ring of Copium used to build it. Battle Fury also includes a cute little item called Quelling Blade, and it keeps the active, which means that if you're up against a Nature's Prophet, you don't have to keep a 100 gold item in your inventory 35 minutes into the game. Battle Fury is also really easy to use. Just smack the biggest creep in the camp and the smaller ones will usually die in the process. If you're a nerd like me, you can calculate the precise number of hits to kill all of them on the exact same attack for a burst of dopamine at every camp. For fights, Battle Fury sounds like it would be really good against zoo heroes, but it's like actually kinda not somehow. A Helm of the Overlord creep can't really be killed with the incidental damage, and outside of stuff like Broodmother Spooters, it's not that useful outside of RP and black hole situations. I must confess, the real reason I glaze Battle Fury so much is the regen. Agi heroes don't get a lot of it, so Battle Fury feels amazing on all of them. Anti-Mage, Troll, Jug, they all feel like they have infinite mana with this item, and if I ever have to pick between this and Maelstrom, I go Battle Fury 9 out of 10 times. At least this patch anyway. I have a sinking feeling Valve will nerf it for zero reason after TI. Hand of Midas is the most straightforward farming item of them all. Target a non-hero unit, turn it into gold. Midas grants 160 gold as well as 2.1 times the experience of the creep, and it has 2 charges now, which no longer makes you want to burst into flames when you die with it off CD. That also means that you can save it for optimal use cases, though that's a little harder to determine than you might think. You see, it seems obvious that you should just use it on a big creep to get the most XP benefit, but you actually get way less gold than if you would use it on a tiny little shitter hiding in the back. Whatever bounty it would have is just changed to 160, so you take a big XP hit, but you get more money if that's what you care about. Still, in 95% of games, you're going to Midas either the biggest creep in the jungle, a ranged creep, or Cardi. It can also be used against Ench and Beastmaster and stuff, but never use that as the excuse to buy it. The appeal of Midas is that it makes farming a very casual affair. Just pop it whenever you walk by a camp and don't even bother clearing the rest of it out. It's also completely agnostic to the hero it's on, so if you're going a farming item on a support, this is the one for you. It grants some attack speed, but like, who cares? Common heroes for Midas include Ogre, thanks to multicast, Arc Warden for the double pop, and Invoker due to his insatiable hunger for XP. Silencer and Ancient Apparition are the most common buyers as subs. If you ever want to signal that you are actively throwing the game, go ahead and queue one up at 25 minutes as a pause 4. Alright, this one's my second favorite. Radiance is by far the most expensive farming item, but it does some really crazy stuff. It burns everything in a big AoE around you for constant magical damage, no questions asked. It has by far the worst buildup of any item, since it requires a giant sacred relic right at the start of the game. But the Talisman of Evasion is cheap, so it kind of balances itself out. It gives you a ton of physical damage, the burn effect, and also gives not one, but 2 forms of evasion. The wielder gets a flat 15% evasion, and affected enemies have a 15% chance to miss their attacks, even if they're attacking something else. It's probably tied with Midas for having the least utility of any farming item, but it can bother some players into buying an MKB, and that item sucks. The biggest draw for Radiance is that it gives heroes a way to convert survivability into damage. You go Rad on Wraith King because he has 2 health bars, on Necro because he's a drain tank, and Alchemist because he just doesn't die during his ulti. You'll sometimes see silly offlaners like Abaddon and Razor go it for similar reasons, though that's more for its fighting applications. As long as you stay alive, Radiance will do the work for you. Oh, and since you're dealing damage all the time, Nyx has a guaranteed Spike Carapace stun on you at all times. He can use it to keep you still and actually land his stun for once in his goddamn life. And finally, Mask of Madness. I actually kind of debated on whether or not it belonged here next to the other ones, and it definitely has the weakest identity compared to the other items on the list. Still, I put it here because it serves as a stopgap for a lot of heroes that already have built-in farming tools, but still need lifesteal to really farm efficiently. When activated, it grants a ton of attack speed and some movement speed in exchange for silencing you and reducing armor. This makes it really useless on heroes that rely on spells and fights, but heroes that can just mash the keyboard and A-click an enemy really like using it. Sven is obvious, he has 2 high duration buffs he can use before popping Mask. Luna is similar with ulti and the weird glaive orbit thing that Valve gave her, and Shadow Fiend can alternate between Mask of Madness and Raises so that the other heroes on his team can buy Clarities. The armor reduction sounds like it'd be no big deal, but it actually matters a lot in the early game. Popping it at the wrong time can lead to getting chain stunned to death or getting your ass blasted by a stacked ancient camp. Have the smallest ounce of caution and you should be okay. On the scale of hero agnostic to hero evangelical, Mask is solidly the second. It can only enhance heroes that are already good at farming with their right clicks. If you're like me and want the old Helm of the Dominator back, please comment it below. If you also missed disassembling it for Satanic Butterfly, please leave a like. In conclusion, farming items are good, and you should absolutely buy them. They're a fun part of Dota 2, and they give every hero a unique feel depending on which one they like to go. Be sure to develop an extreme opinion on Maelstrom vs Battle Fury, and flame me in the comments whenever I suggest the one you don't like. Peace on planet Earth.